How's it going, everybody? On today's episode of Really Good Reviews with Ryan, we're going to have a really good review. I'm Ryan, and this is Really Good Reviews with Ryan. So before we get into today's review, I just want to remind you to go back and check out my last review if you haven't seen it yet. I did the color blue, so it's going to be a really good reference if you're ever in the market for anything blue, or if you're trying to get a gauge if it's going to be the right color that you're looking for. So go back and check that out. It's going to be a ton of help. But yeah, let's get into today's review. So we are going to be reviewing the shape round today. So just like always, I'll be putting an image up here of the shape round just so you can kind of keep reference on it throughout the video. But here's an object I brought that I personally own that is round. Just a classic CD, I'm sure you've seen one before. And you can tell it's round basically by its curved surface. That's a really good way to tell if something's round or not round. So in contrast, I brought in another item, and anyone who saw my last review, this should look familiar because you've already seen it. And this exhibit's not round. So in contrast, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Whereas this one has the curved edges, and this one kind of has more of like straight lines and 90 degrees. So that's a really handy way of trying to determine really quickly if something's round or not. At least that's the method that I use personally. So one thing I've noticed about round objects is that they tend to roll down slope surfaces. So this could be really good or really bad depending on what you need it for. So this object is much more likely than this object to stay stationary on slope surface, whereas this one was way more likely than this one to start rolling. So yeah, it's kind of depending on what you need it for and what shape to get. So to demonstrate this, I have this sweet apple candle. You might be thinking that this isn't round, but as I turn it to this plane, you'll then see that it has a curved exterior, which is one of the identifiers of round. So I have here a surface. This is a book, but for the purpose of the demonstration, it'll work really nicely. So as I place it on the surface and slope it, you'll see that it rolls. And that just is to demonstrate what I was talking about and how round objects roll on slope surfaces. So to get to the review of round, it is so dependent on what you need it for. Like I said, if you need it to be more still, you really don't want round. But yeah, if you need something to move around on a low slope, then it's gonna be great for you. So to review round, I can't give it a super high score because it is so dependent on how you're using it, so it's not good in all circumstances. So I can't give it a really high score because there's going to be times when it's not what you want. So because of that, I'm going to be giving round 5.2. And round is still really good for what it does well, but it's not so good at what it does bad. So for that reason, it's getting a 5.2 for round. That's the review.